I mean, didn't Ben have Titan on top of my deck? I don't want to like.
He's showing him the kill right now that he has.
Yeah, of course.
A scapeshift plus an omen on top, right?
Did Ben not have a land to play his Titan? He played a land.
No,
maybe, I guess he doesn't have the kill.
What's in his hand? Are we sure he has a Titan and scapeshift?
There,
There
it is.
Jason gets it.
Jason Ford wins.
Valakut, or scapeshift, is an archetype that's existed in Modern for over a decade. The idea is to play ramp spells, scapeshift, and Valakut the Molten Pinnacle to win the game in a scapeshift mountain-filled turn. It's a deck that's gone through several iterations, from control to combo, from Primeval Titan to Bring to Light. And today, I want to go over the history of the deck, the flaws of the deck, and answer one important question. What happened? Why does nobody play Valakut?
But Sungjin also could just interact with this Vendilion Click, Cryptic Command, or something along those lines. No! He's going to show him. What does he have? Oh, he has 2 scapeshifts.
Right. I love
click-proof.
That's a good magic card. Okay, yep, no more. Yep, see you later.
This deck is 4 Valakuts, 2 forests, and every other card is either a fetch land or has type mountain on it.
Yes.
So you have a lot of inevitability built in.
To understand the history of Valakut, we need to understand the history of the decks that both Valakut and Scapeshift were found in. This is a tale of 2 brothers. We'll start with the first, the eldest brother. With Valakut the Molten Pinnacle finally coming off of Modern's first ban list, his story starts in 2012, piloted to a successful 4th place finish by Shitan Lee at Pro Tour Return to Ravnica. This list is the standard for Scapeshift lists going forward. It has a strong control core for the time, with some of the best counter magic and removal blue and red have to offer. The only creatures we see are Sakura Tribe Elder to help with chump blocking and ramping, as well as Snapcaster Mage to flash back powerful spells. And of course, Scapeshift and Valakut the Molten Pinnacle can be seen as the deck's sole win condition, outside of beating down with 1/1s and 2/2s. While the eldest brother had some changes over time, his general aesthetic and style remained the same, and he was revered by his peers as the premier way to play Scapeshift and Valakut. And he was content. That is, until fall 2015, when his youngest brother was born. His first notable win came at a Canadian WMCQ, piloted to a respectable top 8 finish by Felix C. He was a bit different than his older brother. Cinderglade offered the deck another fetchable dual land alongside Stomping Ground, making it far less of a green color crunch to run the right amount of mountains. Red-green Valakut was above his brother's need for sleek, traditional control pieces, instead opting to turbo out a Scapeshift win as fast as possible. The first version with Cinderglade in it to succeed at a high level was at Grand Prix Pittsburgh in November of 2015. A strong showing by Thien Wen ended with a top 8 finish. On top of this, Grand Prix Omaha ended with Scott Lipp piloting a Through the Breach variant to a top 8 finish, and Red-Green Valakut was cemented as the hot new kid on the block. The now elder brother looked upon his new younger brother and everything he'd accomplished so fast with envy. How dare he take all the success so fast? How dare he not preserve the Scapeshift family name? He had no counters, no slow plan, no class. This was Red-Green Valakut, and his brother hated him for it. And Red-Green Valakut continued to steal the spotlight from his elder brother. That is, until 6 months later at Grand Prix Los Angeles. Out of the shadows appeared the elder brother, and in his hands was his own new tool from Battle for Zendikar, Bring to Light. Piloted to a top 16 finish by Travis Nonamaker, the gameplay remained the same. Utilize powerful removal, ramp, and counter magic to end the game with a Scapeshift win. This time, black lands were splashed in to utilize Bring to Light. When 4 different colors of mana are used to cast it, Bring to Light could cast any card in the deck for free. This allowed the deck to tool in a single Anger of the Gods and effectively have 5 copies. It also meant the deck effectively ran 8 copies of Scapeshift, improving the consistency of the Scapeshift win. And it also allowed a toolbox sideboard plan. Bring to Light became the ultimate consistency tool, and the eldest brother continued on, utilizing his control package versus his youngest brother's explosive turbo combos. And, for a time, it worked. These changes allowed the elder brother to keep up. And it was the same deck after all. He needed the additional color anyways for Bring to Light, so what's the difference? It's fine. Still, the eldest brother struggled against his younger brother. Despite the changes, he still sat in the ever-growing shadow of Red-Green Valakut, piloted to a top 8 win by Teemu Halonen. But the eldest brother still held hope. Bring to Light Scapeshift was still playable. He was the old guard, he was still relevant, and he would fight to the end.
And Larry Lee is poised for victory. Attacks with Primeval Titan. This would knock Adam down to 13. He gets 2 lands, or 2 mountains, and he's got 3 Valakut triggers.
Yep, so that's
per.
2 times 9, it's 18.
And that's going to do it. Larry Lee is your Grand Prix Oklahoma City champion with Titan Shift. Congratulations, Larry, and a great run for you two as well, Adam. But that's going to do it.
It didn't work. The old guard was outed, and the elder brother returned to the shadows, ashamed. So, what changed? One of the issues with Valakut used to be one of its greatest strengths, linearity. The Valakut game plan of getting enough lands on the field, made easier with the printing of Dryad of the Elysian Grove, resolving Scapeshift, and doming your opponent for damage. The backup plan, if you want to call it that, was utilizing Primeval Titan as both a beat stick and a land assembler. This strategy performed really well into more linear metas, with decks like Blue-White Control and Infect being some of your trickier matchups. But time has not been kind to Valakut, and after several bannings and new set printings, Modern is a much less linear format today. Nowadays, just counter the Scapeshift and the deck folds. Force of Negation makes this really easy. Or just pick it out of their hand with Grief. Destroying or exiling Dryad of the Elysian Grove slows them down considerably, both by denying their extra land drop and their Prismatic Omen effect. Current Valakut lists are well aware of how slow Primeval Titan is for the deck, instead opting for a playset of Wish and slotting a copy of Valakut and Scapeshift into a Wishboard sideboard. Some lists add in extra interaction like Reprieve and Leyline Binding, and of course, playsets of the One Ring. In order to keep up, Valakut paid the cost by completely cutting its backup plan, instead opting to Scapeshift as fast as possible, going all in on the main plan. And of course, the massive elephant in the room is the One Ring. If you think your Valakut opponent is about to combo off, dropping the One Ring gives you protection from everything, delays them a turn, and gets you at least 3 new cards. And you've got multiple in the deck, so keep digging to find them to protect yourself. God forbid you're on Valakut and your opponent's deck has a way to loop the One Ring. So, I don't know if you've heard about this, but there's a deck called Amulet Titan. It's faster, more explosive, and more resilient than Red-Green Valakut. Throughout its existence, Amulet Titan has been a massive rival to Valakut. While Valakut has been able to attack at a different angle, especially into creature metas, Titan has continued to persist as the dominant modern lands deck. And an important thing to keep in mind is that every time Red-Green Valakut gets a piece, Amulet Titan gets the piece as well. Dryad of the Elysian Grove? Amulet Titan's totally fine with having a play that can be a good blocker, can give new land drops, and the Prismatic Omen effect allows for more consistency for its colorless lands and allows it to slot in a Valakut plan of its own. The One Ring? Amulet Titan utilizes that itself, originally alongside a Karn Wishboard, but now just all into the deck to beat faster metas. And even still, the Karnboard sideboard plan is something that Red-Green Valakut cannot copy without diluting its plan too far. Okay, so Amulet Titan is an incredibly fast, explosive, and resilient way to play a linear lands deck, to the point where it got Summer Bloom banned. But what if you want to take it slower? What about Bring to Light Scapeshift? Well, there's this deck called Indomitable Creativity. It's what happens when you take a 4-color good stuff list and go, hey wait, I can make this work if I add a couple of decent token generators and a 4 to 5 mana sorcery. Indomitable Creativity decks usually come in either Jund or 4-color variants, but the idea is the same. Use some of the best interaction Modern has to offer, play a grind game and put tokens on the field, and then use Indomitable Creativity to find copies of Archon of Cruelty to win the game. And that sounds really similar to Bring to Light Scapeshift. But Indomitable Creativity has the advantage of more customizability and less dud draws. All the pieces that help you get to your big play are decent cards in their own right, like Fable of the Mirror Breaker and Deduce, which is fine for what it does. Dwarven Mine is run as a fetchable red source that can create a token when it comes in, and both versions sport their own flavoring. 4-color Creativity runs more hard removal and other interaction, as well as Teferi Time Raveler to protect the combo turn, while Jund runs hand attack and a backup Persist Reanimation line for any Archons discarded to Fable Chapter 2. The archetype has different lists to build with, use, and brew, and boasts an incredibly toolboxy sideboard full of one-of creatures to hit off Indomitable Creativity for different matchups and metas. Compared to Bring to Light Scapeshift, Indomitable Creativity offers more ways to deck build, setup without sacrifice, a decent backup plan, and wins that just match up better into the modern metagame. Valakut is an archetype that bears the history of Modern, with the archetype existing as far back as Extended Format. But formats change, and time has been unkind to both Valakut archetypes. Bring to Light Scapeshift had a resurgence and a new heyday, but now both archetypes are shelved. Modern has moved on. Both new contenders and old rivals have taken its place. The new hotness of alternative sorcery win conditions has also pulled attention away from the archetypes. One of the worst fates that can befall any deck is when people start asking the question, why should I play this over X? Such is the fate of Valakut decks today. And the two brothers, once bitter rivals in their own right, found themselves alone, each with only the other to comfort them. Their time had passed, yet they remained. Not dead, not alive, but in a limbo, wondering if their glory days would ever return, or if their brightest days were behind them.